It's great to be back in the studio. I did just want to point out it's been 3 weeks since we've been back in the studio.
Really?
Yeah, 3 weeks, which is amazing.
Fly rounds.
It's been a long time. Matt Adams, he's in the studio with me. Welcome.
Thank you, mate. Good to be back.
Good to have you in here. And Tom Marquezani is joining us on Riverside. Welcome.
How are we all?
Yeah, we're good, mate. We're going well. But boys, before we do start, it's a special shout out. We have to do this because he's a great man. He does a lot for us here at Castaway Studios. Derek is 57 today. Happy bloody birthday.
Well done, Des.
57?
Yeah, 50. Yeah, I know. 57. He's looking pretty good.
That's good for 57.
Yeah, absolutely. No, he's going well. So Derek, we do appreciate everything that you're doing. I know I don't give you enough shout outs on the podcast.
You just take his beers.
Yeah, we've nicked a few beers over the journey, haven't we? And Derek, if you want to chime in and say anything, by all means, you're welcome to. It is your birthday today. So if you want to sabotage this episode and...
He'll probably just tell us to go home.
Yeah. Well, he wants to be home right now.
Yeah.
I tell you what's big is that we actually have St Kilda coming up pretty soon.
True. We do have the Saints. We've got them next.
Opportunity to...
yeah, you need another camera for that one. I want camera on Derek.
Yeah.
For the Saints game.
I definitely want Derek to be in the show next week for when we play St Kilda, which will probably end up being a pretty big game, to be honest, because St Kilda have got the easy kill in West Coast this week. And then if we can get the chocolates, it'll be 4th versus 5th at Marvel next weekend. That's pretty big.
Yeah, it's huge.
So anyway, feeling confident about...
I'll be doing some close-up shots on you guys to get the tears.
I like it. Early chat.
Okay, Derek.
What did he say? I didn't get that.
To get the tears. I think he's alluding to the fact that he thinks St Kilda might beat us. But anyway, we've 1 week at a time, even though...
Happy birthday, Derek.
Even though we've coined the mantra 3 games at a time in our thread because we can't keep to 1 week at a time. Nuggets was meant to join us.
Where is he?
But something's happened to him, Adzy.
Well, I know his roof fell in.
And he got bitten by Joe's dog.
Really? I didn't know that one.
Well, I think so. He sent us a photo of a little mark on his arm, and
he'll be here.
What part of his roof? What?
Yeah, what part of his roof? What happened there?
Like outside.
The whole. He had to redo his whole roof. And there was a tradie on it, and he almost fell through it.
What?
Yeah.
Oh, no.
He's fine, but there was a big hole in the roof.
Wow,
Yeah.
That's crook. So Nuggets is actually having a nap right now, I believe. And
Okay.
we would love to have him on because I'm going to preface this. I actually don't really have a run sheet tonight because of one main reason. Nuggets all week has been telling us that we're going to do the pile. So we did the pile in pre-season. We haven't done a pile in a while. There was no pile last year at round 10 because we were 10-0. We ended up just going through every player on the list and talking about how much we love them. He thought it was an opportune time to do a pile, and he's not here. So he can't lead the pile chat, which is one of his favourite things in the world, which is disappointing.
And just naps?
Yeah, and having a nap.
Are you a napper?
Nah, never have been.
How old are you? Who naps? Seriously.
I think people nap. I can't do it personally.
Just go to bed.
Yeah, go to bed and don't wake up.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Are you a napper, Marca?
If I nap, I can't get to sleep later on.
Yeah,
but there are times where I've gotten home from work and I've just, I'll lie down on the bed for a little bit and then I'll wake up, 2 hours later and go, oh, shit, I fell asleep.
Yeah.
And that will ruin my sleep, but that's an accidental nap.
Accidental napping. That's fine.
Yeah. I mean, the run sheet tonight is what we've been talking about all week. The threads have been hot because a few people are either in the camp of they're passing out. I think every Melbourne supporter freaks out after a loss, even though it was Geelong and Geelong. So Nuggets is certainly in that camp. I was ropeable and pretty angry as well in the days after. I think we all were. We were fuming. And you're either in the other camp where you're like, it's all good, we'll time our run perfectly. But make no mistake, it's a bloody important game. It's a tricky game. I think we need to respect GWS. I know, Marca, you certainly think that they're going well and they've got a lot of players that on their day can do some serious damage to us. But Where are you at now? Because earlier in the week, I think there was a bit of trepidation as the week goes on. Are you starting to feel a little bit more confident with our chances?
With GWS, I mean, with anyone, if you're not on your game, you open yourself up to a defeat, no matter who you're playing, apart from North, Hawthorn, West Coast. If you're off your game for like 3 to 4 goals, you can lose. Like, so I have no doubt that we will play with great intensity, like we always do. I have no doubt that our defence will hold up, like they always do. My only concern is, and this is the same concern as everyone else in media, this is the same concern as everyone else who is a Melbourne person, is our forward line and our ability to finish. That's it. That's the only thing that I'm concerned about. The other thing is Clary. I want him back right now, but obviously that sucks that this hamstring, whatever, infected, blah, blah, blah. That's annoying, but there are just some other players that need to really step up. And, you know, we were joking about the pile. We're not going to do the pile. But if we lose to GWS...
Yeah, that's pile all pod.
We are bringing in the pile.
Yeah.
And I will name and shame. And not that anyone will listen to me because, you know, whatever my opinion is. But I honestly reckon there's a number of heads that really need to step up. And, you know, I'm not talking about best on ground performances.
Can you tell us, who do you think, Marca?
Who do I think?
Yeah, I want some names. So it's sort of like a mini pile, I guess.
I think the ruck thing is there's question marks over that. And I don't think Grundy has been bad or anything like that. It's not like he's come in and he's not performing. I just think, and Gary Lyon spoke about this on the couch, and it really rang true for me. But I just feel like the presence of Grundy has really taken away our greatest strength with it, which is a Max Gawn dominating for a whole game. And that means taking, you know, game-saving marks, but like, I just feel like I haven't really seen that much this year. And we're just a completely different side when he is doing that. And when it's not, it's like every time it gets kicked out of the defense, you kind of hold in your breath because you're like, I just feel like this is going to come straight back in. When we play that kind of line football, you know, so that's a massive concern for me. Like someone like a Pickett who has moments of brilliance, which is unbelievable. And he still runs and chases, but we're not really seeing a complete game from him. And like I said before, I don't expect him to be best on ground, or like what he did at Alice Springs last year, funnily enough. But I do expect a bit more from Pickett, and I'm sure he does of himself as well. Neil Bullen is one that I'm honestly perplexed at how he's still in the team. And I clearly don't see what the coaches see or understand about what he brings to the team. I clearly have no idea. But from what I can see, I don't think it's enough to remain in the team.
Yeah.
That's just my opinion.
I think just to add one there as well, for me this year is, and I hate to say this because I love him, but Lingers, similar to Cozzy, like we love both of these players, premiership heroes, but Lingers just doesn't seem like he's the same player he was. And I feel like it's in a weird way, it's sort of a good position to be in because we have so much room for improvement and we're still a game inside the top 4. So those guys just go up an extra 10% and we're storming home, I think.
Yeah,
absolutely. We're fourth. Sorry to cut you off, but we're fourth. And we're kind of looking at it like a glass half empty, or a lot of people are at the moment. And honestly, rightly so in terms of how we're finishing, which has been really poor. And, you know, our forward makeup is unconventional, to say the least. And, you know, against Geelong, yeah, we did play Geelong in Geelong, and winning down there is like really, really hard. But let's give it context. There was no danger. There was no Guthrie, and Cameron went down. Like,
yeah,
that was a very winnable game for me. And I felt like we had them at 3/4 time in all areas of the game, except that one bloody thing, which is finishing our work.
I Could not agree more with you, Marco. I said it on the show on Monday or whenever it was, Sunday night with Caden McDonald. Massive missed opportunity. It was there for us. And I said it wasn't necessarily about the fourth quarter, even though everyone wanted to fixate on that. I certainly did in the aftermath. I was furious. Angriest I've been all season long about that last quarter. But then when I actually thought about it more in the days after, the game was lost for us in the second and third because when we had momentum,
Yeah, we didn't
capitalise.
Yeah.
Plain and simple.
Yeah, and if you just look at it like that as well, it is just a pretty simple fix. Like kick those goals instead of what was it, 8-16 or 8-18 or something?
Yeah, 8-15.
8-15. Yeah, just turn that around and we're smashing them. So just kick goals. It's literally as simple as that.
It's also as well though. I think something that's been lost on people. We've reverted back to the 2022 style of slow ball movement, wings, not enough corridor. It is difficult on a ground like GMHBA to actually take that corridor on. But a lot of our looks were quite shallow or from 45, 50 on a serious angle.
Yeah.
So, and the other thing, which is it's probably one of the cardinal sins in footy, don't kick to the top of the goal square 10 metres out. When Geelong had all their tall timber, we were a pretty small forward line. And they were just punching and rushing them through.
Yeah.
Yeah. So those...
He dominated.
He did.
He's a star.
But those things annoy me as well. Like, the method isn't obviously there and the delivery...
The delivery's not there.
Well, the delivery inside 50 is a broken record. We talk about it every week. But it's also just the looks that we're getting aren't good enough. Like... But then I go back to what Adelaide were doing in that third quarter against Collingwood. They were binning them from anywhere.
Yeah. Exactly.
So we've still got to straighten up no matter where you're taking those shots from. You're an AFL footballer, for God's sake. If you've got the responsibility, your job is to be dobbing them from all the angles, which is what we were doing in the first 10 rounds, don't forget.
It will happen. Like, I have no doubt that it will come back, which is why I'm sort of optimistic at the moment. And I think... someone like Bailey Fritsch, we know he's a star, he always leads to the pocket. And I just think, I don't want to speak for all of us here, but I know that a few people, Melbourne supporters, would be happy if they saw Ben Brown come back in because he leads directly at the ball, down the middle, so he gets good shots. Like, he may not get as many opportunities, but he's a great kick. So if we have that mix of Ben Brown leading up, straight up to the centre, and then Bebe going into the pockets, I think that gives us a way better structure.
Yeah, definitely. Marca, you had your hand up like a good student.
Yeah. We've done it before. It's not like these are skills that just go, right? That they're AFL footballers. We've seen them play with flair and dare before, which has seen us win a flag, albeit in 2021. That's a long time ago. But in terms of finishing, you got to have the confidence to finish, and clearly there's a lack of confidence within the group at the moment to do that extra little bit. But it can turn around so quickly, a thing like that. Win this week, win the following, you get onto a bit of a run. Nuggets said it in the thread. He went on about, if we can get on a bit of a run of games, which we kind of seem to not really do at the moment. It's kind of a bit stop-start. But if we just win like 3 in a row or something, like if we win the next 3, that is just
win the next
like
2,
that,
and Clary
we
comes
will
back.
just be walking so tall, and the group will just like go nuts from there. But
there's a big part of me. I'm more in Adzy's camp, where I think it's pretty blatantly obvious that Melbourne are setting themselves for finals and peaking at the right time. I truly believe in that because we've seen it over the journey. Some teams can definitely peak too early. They can have a great home and away season, but they don't get their program right.
It was us last year.
Yeah, exactly. So I think all the messaging that's coming out... Well, I think the biggest example for me is actually Ben Brown. So I'm going to go out on a limb. I'm going to say that Ben Brown's coming in this week because...
Love that.
I reckon the way that I read it in Simon Goodwin's press conference, he's constantly been banging on about how, Yeah, we just need Ben Brown to do a little bit more at Casey. Yeah, we're happy with how he's tracking, but he's probably just not there yet. They drain his knee. He takes a couple of weeks off, which was a great time to do it with the bye round as well after King's birthday. I watched a few Casey games pre that Geelong game on Friday night, Marca in the Rezzies. Ben Brown wasn't moving very well. Ben Brown, last Friday night for Casey, he's moving freely. He had 18 touches.
That's huge for him.
18 touches. He kicked 2 goals.
I watched the first quarter.
Yeah.
Of that game, and he doesn't move as well as a JVR, but he was moving as well as a Ben Brown, as I would say is like up for AFL standard. The other thing, he's not in the team to chase down and to put on forward pressure. It's up for the blokes like Neil Bullen and Pickett and Chandler to pick up the slack in that area and to be, a possessed mosquito fleet, so that Ben Brown can be in the team for leading straight, taking marks at the highest point. Defenders can't defend him, and he simply kicks goals.
Yeah,
it's as simple as that. He converts.
Yeah, and I think that's an example. Melbourne have gone, okay, this is probably the last piece of the jigsaw puzzle. We're trying with Petty up forward. We're trying with Joel Smith up forward. But ultimately, I think they've come to this decision. Let's go and drain his knee. Let's go and get him moving properly. Let's set him up for the run home. Let's get him back into the team. And let's hope that he can recapture that type of 2021 form that he had back end of the year in finals. The guy was pivotal. He was kicking 2-3 every week. He was providing a contest. He was doing what Ben Brown does. And Mark is absolutely spot on. Like, this guy isn't going to apply that ferocious pressure because it's just not. It's not within his game.
He's there to bin goals.
He can't physically do it either. Like he's not capable of doing that. So I truly do believe, and I have this sense that Melbourne have learned from 2022. The other thing that gives me confidence as well, we were so banged up last year.
Yeah.
All the stories come out, a month after the season. This bloke was crook. This bloke was crook. Shouldn't have played him. That's on the coaching staff as well. You shouldn't be playing players that aren't ready to play at the level, particularly in finals. But we don't have that this year.
Yeah.
So regardless of last week and that last quarter against Geelong, we've been the best fourth quarter team in the comp. I still think our fitness levels are through the roof. I think hopefully, fingers crossed, it doesn't look like we're as banged up, and we're not going to be as banged up if we can retain our fitness levels coming into finals. I think and I hope that they've learnt the lessons of last year, and the whole point of our season is about finals. It's not going through the season and going 20-3 or 19-4 in the same way that like a Port and Collingwood probably will. It's like, nah, we'll just get ourselves right. We'll finish 3rd or 4th and prime ourselves for September. If that's the case and that's what Melbourne is doing, we still can't get ourselves into a situation where we lose a game against a GWS or a St Kilda. We still need to rattle off the wins. So it's risk versus reward. And we've set ourselves for finals and the loading and the tapering and all that shit that comes into it. You still need to bank the 4 points so you don't fuck up and finish 5th or 6th and then suddenly you're in a predicament. Like, we still need to get that double chance to set ourselves properly.
I think we will. Like, I know I've been speaking about GWS in our thread, and look, they do have some awesome players, but I still think that we're a far better team. And just going back to what you were saying about player management, like in a weird way, this whole Clary situation could be a bit of a blessing in disguise in the long run. He could end up having 5-6 weeks off. He still looks pretty fit. He still seems to be doing a fair bit of running. The difference of him coming in, let's say we beat GWS and St Kilda, he comes in against Brisbane. He's had 6 weeks off. His body's probably feeling awesome at that stage.
Yeah,
that is exactly what Goody's probably thinking. He's priming him for the pointy end of the year. If that was last year, he'd probably be playing this week. So I have no doubt that Goody is thinking through the player management a little bit more this year.
Yeah, and I think we have to, Marca, because we've spoken about this heaps. As much as we really dislike Geelong, we've all tipped our hat to them in the way that they managed their players last year. They were flawless in terms of their player management. They absolutely nailed it, and they got so many players that are over the 30 age bracket, and you could see from week to week in the back half of the year, it was like, we're going to manage this bloke. We're going to manage this bloke. They got it. They just nailed it. It was superb. Like, fair play. And I think taking that blueprint from Geelong and implementing it into our squad and our list means that I hope like a Max maybe gets a rest at some point if we can. I hope a young bloke, even you don't have to be in the 30s. I hope a young bloke like JVR gets a rest at some point in like around 20 or around 21. I think there's a lot to be garnered from the way that Geelong did it last year. And we all hope that the idea and the strategy behind priming ourselves for a tilt in September is doing what Geelong did last year. There's an extra game this year as well, which like adds another, little curveball into the mix. I think we need to look at who's done it well. It's not every single premier has the same recipe every single year. Tactically, the game moves and changes every probably 2 to 3 years. I think at the moment, you probably need to embrace a little bit of corridor football and obviously being really good in transition to have a chance of winning a premiership now, because that's like the modern trend. But also, why not take what worked so incredibly well for Geelong last year and learn from the fact that we were probably the polar opposite. We were the banged up, stubborn coaching group and just all-round footy department.
Predictable as well.
Predictable. That didn't play players at Casey. They went a whole year virtually not losing a game. The only game they lost was in the last round to Brisbane when it meant diddly squat because they'd already finished on top and clear by many games. And then they went through the final series, clean slate, won the flag, and we didn't reward players at Casey. So I really do hope that Melbourne understand that the list management and the depth, and we always spruik it, and the club always tries to spruik the fact that we've got depth. Actually prove it, execute upon it, and don't play players who clearly aren't up to it. Listen to the medical staff. Don't listen to Track. Track played that game against Freo and said, no, I'm good to go. He was clearly sick. That was ridiculous. We played him in the final as well when he had a broken bone in his leg.
He still had like 28 touches too.
Like that, they're examples, Marker, of like, you've actually just got to go and execute. Stop talking, learn from Geelong, and don't make the same mistakes as last year.
Yeah, I agree with you with everything, except I'd take a sick Track ahead of most people.
Especially in a final. But
ahead of it, you were going to say A and B then, I reckon.
Well, most people on our list.
Yeah, I mean,
but yeah, no, mate. I think we have done what you've just said. Definitely better than what we did last year.
Yeah,
and
I think we've definitely used more players than what we had last year. I don't know if that's because of an injury thing, but apart from the start of the year, which looks a bit with May and Gorn kind of getting injured, there was Lever for a little period of time. Apart from that, we've had a really good run. Touch wood, knock.
I mean, Clary's injured as well.
Clary for sure, but apart from him, it's been really promising in terms of our player management, which gets a tick on my end.
Yeah,
it's more about it's such a luck year, man. Like it's crazy. Like you got to have so much luck on your side for things to be going right by the end of the year. And I guarantee you, everyone in the finals will be carrying something. If you make it that far, you're carrying something, but it's just a matter of, I guess you just ride this wave of like, whatever you want to call it. What would you call it? Belief, kind of motivation, whatever. And then you just kind of somehow play and get through it.
Yeah.
You
can also be carrying less though, which is, I think, where the management comes into it. I agree with you. There's players that are always going to be carrying stuff. But if you look at us in our final series last year, like Max Gawn couldn't even bend over to pick up the ball.
Yeah, no, they were.
Like, as we said, Petrarca, and I agree with you, like I'd still play him on a broken leg. I think he was still our best player. But yeah, I just think like this chat in general, and just where we're at the moment is actually I don't know how to explain it. I feel like we go week to week as Melbourne supporters, and we don't look at the big picture a lot of the time. You go back last round or the round before when we beat Collingwood, we're on top of the world. We've beaten the team that apparently is the best in the comp, and then we lose to a Geelong, who we've said, I know, Marca, they had a fair few injuries there. You know, we had a couple ourselves as well, but it's still always hard to beat them down there. I just don't think that we're in as bad a position as what some people think. If you actually look at where we sit on the ladder with our percentage, we're still in the 4. It's pretty much a 2-game break from anyone else. We win these next 2 games off the back of probably 6 pretty hard weeks. Then we're setting ourselves up really well. Hopefully no more injuries. I know Hibbo's just gone out, which hurts, but Clary comes back. Who knows? There may be a plan to quicken up the ball movement as well at the end of the year. I don't know. I just feel like from where we've come from pre-2021, we used to be supporters just so dark about our club and, never performing. And I still think that we're sort of missing the fact that we're cemented in the top 4 at the moment, and we still have some very, very winnable games ahead of us and can easily finish in the top 4 and then have a huge charge at finals. I think, as a collective supporter base, we need to look at the whole season and not just week by week.
Yeah, and it just needs to play itself out. And the beautiful thing or the romantic thing moving forward could be Collingwood end up finishing in first spot, which is highly likely. They have this wonderful home and away season. The media are pissing in their pocket every single week. You've got some people telling you that the way that they play footy and it's so attractive and it's a great brand that even if you dislike them, you've got to like the way they're going about it. Like, fuck off.
Yeah, and also Fly get fucked.
Yeah,
so over here.
Like, I'm sorry. What do you mean? Like, there's a deep-seated hatred there from the Melbourne Footy Club. I know, like, I don't actually, like, really hate them. I don't like them.
No, I hate them.
Don't get me wrong. I don't like them. And I know a lot of Melbourne supporters definitely hate them. But don't tell me how I'm meant to think. And also, they haven't won anything yet.
No, they're Bazball.
Haven't won anything yet.
They're literally the team that is anyone that's watching the Ashes at the moment. Bazball is basically the English team playing an exciting brand, which is what a lot of AFL teams are doing at the moment. I don't mind the way we're going about it. We're playing, like, as we've said, just contested footy at the moment.
Yeah.
We're trying to win the contest and then just play good, like, normal football. We don't need to be showing off. We don't need to be down at 3/4 time and come back and win by 2 points. Like, if we can just tick off these wins, get to finals and just believe that we have the list to be able to do it.
We'd never really played attractive football under Simon Goodwin when you think about it. Like 2018, there were times.
2021 was pretty attractive.
Yeah, but the thing about 2021 that everyone forgets is during the season, it was
similar to now.
It was unattractive. It was, we'll grind you out. We'll keep you to 60, 65 points. We might only kick 85, 90. We'll get a 4 or 5 goal win, but, like, who gives a shit, right? It's never been our mantra or our style. However, 2021 flicked the switch, turbo finals footy. It was crazy. Like, that wasn't really our DNA in 2021. So, and I don't care. I honestly could not give a shit. If Melbourne are going all in on the idea of winning a flag off contested possession, hopefully winning clearance, which we've improved in the last 3 weeks, which has been a big tick, forward half game, territory, all that shit, like, so be it. I don't care. As long as we get the results, that's fine. And if we do get Collingwood in a qualifying final, we finish 4th, they finish 1st. They've had this glorious home and away season, but we go and knock them off. Then it starts to prove the point that you peak at the right time, which is exactly what I think Melbourne are trying to do at the moment. It's not about being perfect in season.
Yeah, 100%.
It's about being perfect when it actually matters. And that's why I'm in your camp, Adzy, and that's why I still have a lot of confidence that we'll actually get there and we'll get it right. Just don't put yourself in a predicament where you lose a few silly games in the next few weeks.
Yeah,
that's all.
As Marcus said, like, if we lose against GWS, it's a huge pile.
Huge pile. Huge pile.
Yeah, so, like, these next couple of weeks are pretty big for us. But I have full confidence in our team. Like, I think we've been playing, even in our losses, like, I think we've averaged losing by 10 points or something. Like, it's not like we're getting blown out of the water. That just never happens. Back to Marcus' point, just our forward line. We just need to be better. We need to kick goals instead of behinds, basically, and bring someone in. Like, I'll be very confident if Ben Brown comes in because he's someone that will mark the ball. And, when he marks it inside 50, 75% of the time, he's probably going to kick a goal.
Yeah, well, there's 3 parts to it for me when it comes to that, and everyone's speaking about forward half and forward half connection. 3 parts. I think it's black and white. Our forwards don't lead properly at the moment. I've been big on that. Watched it at the ground on Thursday. They're too stagnant. They need to get up and, get on their bike. It can be tricky when we play a territory game because naturally...
That's also because you've got a bloke who's in his second year and another bloke who's played 30 games of football and 80% of them are in the back line. So,
yeah,
of course, we have the leading patterns right because we don't have... And that's why Ben Brown is so pivotal because you model off him by him playing. And a JVR, I think, would just learn so much from a Ben Brown because Ben Brown he's not a...
He's a smart footballer.
He doesn't jump on people's heads. It's all about between the ears and how he moves and how he times his run. And I just think his position in the team is so pivotal. But Adzy, I 100% agree with you in terms of the leading patterns. It's a mess. It's an absolute mess.
Do you give anything, Marca, to the delivery as well? Like, I know
the delivery's terrible.
Like, we've got Viney
it's a part of
and
it.
even like Petraka is pretty hit and miss. Sometimes he can stream out and do one of the greatest kicks you'll ever see. But then lots of the time, especially when there's a bit of pressure against good teams, it's just bombing it.
I cannot believe he got Coaches Association votes for that game last week against Geelong. That was one of his worst 30-plus possession games I've seen. I thought Geelong did a good job on him. His possessions were not impactful. He was hack kicking. He was reverting back to 2019 type footy. I was actually really disappointed in his performance. And then someone goes, "Oh, you had 33 though." Yeah, you can have 33. Clayton Oliver's had 40 some games, and by his own admission, he didn't use the pill properly.
Yeah,
like that's what happens, right? So don't get so hung up on the idea that just because you've accumulated so many possessions, you've actually had an influence, because he didn't.
So then
the method's huge. So that was my second point. So leading patterns is one thing. Yes, we play a forward half territory game, which means that sometimes the forward line is congested. But we also have crummers. We have small forwards. I know Mark is big on this. And you're watching them on the weekend. When the ball hit the deck, the ground ball game, when we actually made a contest, where were they? So many times where I was like, where's Cozzy? Where's Chandler? Where's A and B? They just weren't at the fall of the ball. And Geelong were able to just sweep it out. They were there first. And I was like, we had a lot of tackles inside our forward 50. And you go back and you look at the tape and you're like, well done. A lot of the tackles we had and a lot of the pressure that we had was just purely because we'd kind of loaded up in our forward line. So it was like stoppage, tackle, throw it up again. Or Geelong players like trying to exit D50. He's on the boundary line, tackle. There wasn't. It was a misleading stat, because if you actually go back and look at it, the fundamentals of leading patterns and crummers being at the fall of the ball, they weren't there, Marker. We need more from that small brigade as well.
The other thing, the conditions absolutely suited the Geelong backmen. You talk about Tui, you talk about Jasny, you talk about Stewart, you talk about Henry. They're all kind of bigger bodies compared to all those small forwards that you just mentioned. And I'm looking at your face, and it looks like you've seen the teams.
Yeah, I most certainly have. As Matt Kermeen tries to call me, who's a big Saints fan, but we'll worry about that battle next week, Kettle. The teams are in, and I will read them out for you, Marcus. So it's an extended squad. The actual team comes out tomorrow night, I think like 5 o'clock or something. We've got Harmsy, Lil Bow Wow. He's a lock. That's a dur.
Yeah.
Melk.
Nah,
he probably won't get in. Tomo's a chance.
I reckon Tomo could be in.
Tomo's a big chance. And the last one, Ben Brown. So
what about the outs?
Well, the outs are, it's pretty obvious who got omitted, because he gets omitted every week. James Jordan.
JJ.
Poor JJ.
Yeah, mate, I watched him against Geelong, and I was.
He was
I don't want to see him in the team again.
he was pretty shit.
Oh,
He was
why?
pretty shit against Geelong, and
I'm done with
he
him.
got his opportunity as well. Where
There's a reason he's sub every week. He's just meh. He's whatever. Get him out.
Oh shit. Okay, fair enough.
But-
And then it says round 15 sub. Is this a new thing that they do? Charlie Spargo. So Charlie Spargo clearly not in the reckoning at the moment. They're not happy with him. That's okay. Earn your spot. How's it going to play out then with those changes? I think Bow Wow's the absolute lock.
well, him and Salem. I think
Mm.
Marca might have been saying this during the week. Like, we talk about delivery inside 50. If those two can sort of push up and get into a string of handballs and have one of them kicking it inside 50, then maybe we'll get our delivery right.
But even just that kick that unlocks,
Yeah, just pierces the team.
flow, unlocks the flow. So say they decide to, and they have the confidence, and this goes back to the thing I was talking about before about finishing and having the confidence and the dare and the flair to actually do the things, to put scoreboard pressure on. But they do have the confidence to take those kind of kicks into, get through the press or get through that kind of like structure that the opposition has, because they're deadly by foot. They're our best kicks in the team. And them two playing together is just so, for me,
Yeah.
it's scary.
Yeah, I love Bowie coming back in.
Same.
He's polish that we need,
And he defends. Like, he's a really good defender.
and weirdly a good mark.
Yeah, mate, he's the complete player. He's the best player I've seen.
No, I'm pretty content, pretty happy with those changes, if I'm being honest. Like, we don't know exactly who it's going to be, but I mean, the hope is that Ben Brown obviously plays. Maybe Tomo comes in as well, because his form at Casey has been ridiculous, and I'd like to see him potentially be given another go. We can change it up where it's like, okay, Nuggo's favourite, Joel Smith, gets dropped. It means that Tomo comes in. Maybe Petty plays forward in tandem with the Ben Brown. Who knows? We've got some flexibility. We'll find out tomorrow night. But I really do get the feeling that Brown will come in.
Yeah.
Just off the back of what Goody said. Goody said that, he's in the calculations now. He's moving better. He was talking about him almost negatively in previous weeks.
Yeah.
There was a complete tone and switch in terms of his language in the way that he spoke about him this week. Like he'd done the work, like he was ready.
I sort of wish that he would speak in that tone
More.
about other players.
Yeah.
Like he definitely does have his favourites. Like, and I know we talking about A and B, and like there's a few of them around that he seems to really, really love. And I'd just love to see even someone like a Tajwa Woden get a game, drop an A and B, and just make him feel like he's not secure in the team, because then you get the best out of the player. Bring in a Tajwa Woden, first game, you don't know what he's going to do. He could be awesome, and it could reinvigorate the whole group. Like he could kick a couple of early goals, which is more than what A and B is doing at the moment. Like basically A and B is a good runner at the moment, but he's not having a lot of impact on the actual result. I don't think, personally.
It's always good.
Okay, that's big.
That was pretty big on the pile then.
Yeah, that was huge on the pile. Nuggets said he had a great nap, by the way. He feels 10 times better. Just an update.
Is he going to come in?
No, I don't think so. Just an update for everyone. He did send me some notes. I'm not going to potentially go through everything, but he did write in here JJ's sub of the pile, which is very cheeky of him. He writes a note here about Choco. He just writes, Choco, congrats on Hall of Fame, but sort out the kicking, would ya? Which is big, and I kind of agree. He said, Hunter not doing it for me. I beg to differ. I think he's been good, and I think he's one of our better players last week.
He's been better than Lingers.
Yeah. Yeah, Lingers.
So you're not going to
down.
drop him when the other wingman's not playing as well as him.
Yeah, Ed's been very down. He goes, BB, get a game. We need you. So that's big. He might be getting a game. I like that. And then he says, recruiters, we all knew that we needed a key forward. You're on notice this offseason. If we don't pick up a mint key forward, I'll munt.
Oh, really?
That's big from Nuggets. Who else? Spaz weighing on watch. Preseason hype was huge.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that was. We're pumping him up as
He's
well.
still been good, but he hasn't exploded.
It's been okay.
He hasn't exploded. And then this is Marca, so you're on the pile.
Nice.
Don't ever say a bad word about Clary again.
Yeah, fair.
Yeah, you cop
I
that.
cop that.
And then he said Naughtsie reverse mayo on spray. So, yeah, he's had a go at me.
Yeah, doesn't surprise me.
What about Adzy?
He just goes, Adzy, you're in the bubble. Love you, cuz.
Love you too, cuz.
So he's done well. And then he goes,
Mm.
optimistic supporters who become filthy when we lose games. Get fudged.
Yeah. Well, isn't that him?
Probably. Yeah.
It's 90% of our supporter base.
Yeah.
There is an overreaction when we lose, and our supporters do get very dramatic. But I can understand why. Some people from the outside looking in would go, well, hang on. You won the flag less than 2 years ago. What are you freaking out about? Well, the fact that we weren't there in Melbourne to witness it is the reason why I think we get maybe a little bit melodramatic. And the other thing is, as well, is like,
It's the list.
it's the list.
Yeah. So I think lots of people
Expectation.
think that Goodwin is he's driving a Ferrari and he's not getting the most out of it.
Yeah.
So, but that remains to be seen. Who knows what's going to happen in the next 10, 12 weeks.
Yeah, exactly. So, I mean, we should look at GWS as well. So, I mean, Marca, you love this guy. Jesse Hogan comes back into the fold for the Giants, which is
Can
huge
we
for
poach him
them.
back? Let's get him back.
Imagine him coming home. Imagine Marca. Fuck, mate, you'd cry, I reckon.
Yeah.
He's literally exactly what we need.
Yeah.
I just going back to Nug's comment. I've said this many times as well. Say we don't, say we don't win the flag this year. If we go into the preseason next year without recruiting someone like a Jesse or any kind of key forward target, there is no way I'm going to pay for a membership for this club.
Really?
No fucking chance, mate. No chance, because it'll be the same story.
Yeah, but hang on. Are you alluding to the fact that you don't think we can win this thing if we don't get the final piece of the forward tall problem sorted? Like, where are you going with that? Because I think I know where your head's at, and you've been adamant about this. Your hope is you think Ben Brown, if he can perform to the level, he'll be that missing link that we're looking for. I think it's more a method thing, more so than a personnel thing. But I think you're hanging on the hopes of like Ben Brown can solve that problem, we win flag. If it doesn't work out, are you saying we don't get it done, and then it's pretty obvious that we actually need that key forward? Or can we still win it? Like, where are you at? Because that's an interesting statement.
Obviously the other week we beat Collingwood without Ben Brown, right? But they were still missing, Elliot, Degoe.
Yeah.
How? There was a few players, and we didn't have Clary for sure. But I just think, and we look back on history, the key forwards that have played for premiership teams, it's stark.
Yeah.
And only one team in 2017 had one, and it was Jack Rewalt. The rest since the year 2000 and beyond that, I just made a list from the year 2000 for its irrelevant kind of long list. It's had two key forwards. And we will be resting our hopes, based off the Collingwood game, on a player in his second year, playing his first year of senior football in AFL, that is, not VFL, and a bloke who's played 30 games and most of them have been in the back line.
Yeah.
That's my concern. That's as simple as that. And, I don't want to knock JVR, and I don't, because I think he's been unbelievable. He has been unbelievable for us this year, and I'm so excited about him coming into the future, and I'm excited about him in finals. I think he's kind of made for it, the way he plays the game in finals. But I just think Brown offers something that no one else really does for us up forward, especially when the likes of Grundy and Gawn aren't doing it for us. They're not hitting the scoreboard in the way that maybe we had hoped coming into the season. But yeah, I still think Gong can turn that around and start to hit the scoreboard a bit more. But yeah, the key forward thing, yeah, it is a concern for me. But maybe we can play this chaos footy and it's not as important as I make it out to be. But history would suggest I'm right.
Well, I also don't think it matters what camp you're in at the moment. Some people put more of a precedence on method, the way we're going in, as opposed to the actual people that are in that forward line setup. But, and I've said this on Monday and I'm saying it again, absolute broken record. We talk about this all the time. We spoke about it all the time post round 10 last year when the wheels started to get a bit wobbly. When we couldn't score as much, it started to dry up a little bit. We were so reliant on defending and keeping an opposition team to a score because we couldn't score enough offensively. It's like we're still here. It's actually crazy that we're still here talking about this at the moment. Is it the thing that ultimately holds us back? I don't know. I beg to differ because I think finals is a completely different beast. I think in finals you can have games where it is very low scoring and it is an arm wrestle and you don't necessarily need to be as fluid and have a flow to your play and score in the same way that you might during the home and away season because you don't get as much time. There's more pressure on the ball.
Collingwood game, exactly, Marca. Yeah.
And that's why it might not stack up in finals. And I think like it's all good and well to be attractive and have this like firebrand that everyone thinks is sexy, but they might not have a brand. We don't know yet, but they actually might not have a brand that stands up in finals. Melbourne are going all in again in the same way that they did last year on that forward half. We're going to make it a scrap territory game. And I think the reason why we're doing that is because clearly we know we don't have a great forward mix anyway. And all the other teams contending for the flag definitely have better lineups than us in their forward 50. Also, I think we're just going in all in on it because the coaching staff genuinely believe that it's finals footy and that will eventually stack up and beat the more attractive, daring brands or the ones that have more flair. Like, this is how we're going to roll. I can't see a world where we get back to 2021 blistering football. I think that just doesn't happen. I think that was out of the box.
That was 2 years ago.
Exactly.
You know? It's so long ago.
Yeah, it can't. I just don't think it will happen. It'd be amazing if Melbourne just flicked a switch and became that beast again. But yeah, I don't really envisage a world where that happens. So we're going all in with our format and our template. There are teams like Port and Collingwood who are going in with theirs. It'll be interesting to see how it works out. Is it finals footy? I don't think it was really proven last year because of the fitness issues being banged up. And I think that's why we've gone back to the well and said, we'll do it again because we actually have a firm belief that it will stack up. And if all the key indicators are something to go off, and we've seen it this week, we're filling up all of them. Like 18 of 19 key indicators, you've got to be in the top 6 of all of them to have a crack at winning the flag. We're leading the race. We're in 18 of the 19, or however the way it was positioned. So everything's kind of working. It's flag. Everything's kind of working except for this. 34-58 in the past 4 weeks.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's finishing.
That's what. Yeah, it's finishing. I don't know if I'm the only one, but I don't think our forward line is as bad as what you're saying. Like,
it's still bad.
I still feel like we have some great forwards. Like, I think Bailey Fritsch is one of the best forwards in the comp. Like when he's on.
Yeah.
I still think Cozzy, when he's on, he's one of the best small forwards in the comp. Like, they are dangerous players.
Kados?
I think when Ben Brown comes in, he can kick 3-4 goals. I don't think our forward line is that bad. We've just got to convert. And we've seen how, like, at the start of the year, we scored the most points out of any other team, I think, for the first 6 or 7 rounds. And then it's just dried up a bit. And that's to a number of reasons. We've had changes, people going in and out, and then just stuff just not working, not kicking goals. I still believe that if you're a team that can lead the points for that long, then we obviously do have the firepower to win games and kick big scores. I don't think our forward line is bad. We're just not converting.
Yeah. No, it's going to be a really interesting watch in the next couple of weeks. Boys, just on just on GWS, so they've been going pretty well. They had that big win against Freo a couple of weeks ago before they were on their bye. That was impressive, won by 70 points, which is quite an exceptional result given the fact that Freo have got a lot of talent. Lockie Whitfield missing is obviously big because he's a star. But Marca, you raise a good point this week. Like Toby Green's obviously one that we need to look out for, but also Kelly. It's just not getting the media attention as much as he did in previous years. I reckon the guy's absolutely humming.
It's because Dacos and Butters have rocked up.
Yeah, but he's absolutely humming. Like you said it so well. He is a Rolls Royce midfielder. He's class, and he's someone we've got to really look out for this weekend. In addition to a Toby Green,
he's almost someone that you can't really tag in a lot of ways. He's such a smart footballer. The way he reads the play, the way he kind of just gets into the right positions, and he does it all looking like a gazelle, just kind of floating along the field. You just hope that he doesn't hit the scoreboard because he can kick goals.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
He's a star.
If players like him are hitting the scoreboard, then that's when we'll lose. If Callie kicks 2 goals, or if a Tom Green kicks 1 or 2 goals, that's when the alarm bells will ring, because Toby Green's going to kick 3 minimum. Yeah. Jesse Hogan will get a couple. Riccardi's in really good form, and maybe people might not know him as much as the other two, but he's doing plenty. Their ruckman, that's where we can really kind of like take a hold of the game.
I think Briggs is a good player, by the way.
Who, sorry?
I think Briggs is actually a good footballer. I've watched him recently and I've been quite impressed by his form. I think he's actually, in the last 4 or 5 rounds, he's the 4th rated best player in the competition as well. And I've been shocked at how dominant he's been in the ruck.
Who's their second ruck? Who's their second ruck?
Well, it's a great question.
That's the area where it's okay.
Who is their first ruck?
Briggs.
Yeah, so they have Flynn.
Matt Flynn's come in to support him. So they've clearly
Did he come in though?
Yeah, so Flynn has actually come in. So they've gone, okay, we're going to do a duo.
Yeah.
Like us.
So Briggs and Flynn against Gawn and Grundy.
Yeah, great. Bring it on. That's good. Look, Gawn and Grundy, like clearly Max knows that he needs to step up. But in the same way that Angus Brayshaw needs to step up. He's been off the boil. There's a lot of players. Ed Langdon, great shout out before. Like, we can't gloss over the fact that he hasn't been very good this year and he hasn't hit the lofty heights that we expect from him. Like, there are a lot of players that have been off the boil, but I keep coming back to it. Salem's back in his inform. Chris McVie is a gun, an absolute gun. He is. Trent Rivers has taken the next step. Say it every week. He's been awesome. He was one of our best players last week. Lever and May are waxing on and waxing off pretty well. Petty will be better for the run as well. He shouldn't have played. It was a stupid decision. He wasn't ready. Tomo, I can't believe Tomo got dropped in hindsight. Defensively, it's all sound. Jack Viney's in some red-hot form.
Is he injured, though?
Who?
Viney, I feel like he's popping his shoulder out a bit or something.
Yeah, he keeps popping
and you can't tell with him because he's similar to a Hibbert. He probably doesn't say...
It must be one of those situations whereby it will be an ongoing thing, because if you decide to do surgery, then that's almost like your year's done.
Yeah. I feel like if there's someone that can sort of break through that pain, he's almost number 1 candidate in the AFL.
Yeah, I agree with that. Yeah, no, he's going well. So, yeah, look, there's some players definitely in form. The players out of form, we've said this a few times as well, but I want to see Chandler, Pickett, and Fritsch. I want to see those 3 in particular have big games on the weekend against GWS. And
B.
Yeah. And Ben Brown. I want to see Ben Brown come in and kick 3 or 4.
Okay, it's a good call. I like that. Who goes out? Does Smith go out?
Yeah, probably.
Oh,
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, like Brown's a lot better footballer than Smith.
Yeah.
I know he was all right in the first half against Geelong, but yeah, you take Ben Brown every day of the week.
Nuggets said, Joel, co-creator of the pile with Slomac. Need I say more?
Yeah.
It's big.
Yeah.
He likes the Slomac.
It's big. We want Derek to have a beautiful dinner with his family tonight, so we're gonna wrap up and
Yeah, I'll get out of here.
yeah, and give him that
Happy
time.
birthday, Derek.
But before we wrap up, we'll do some predictions. We'll do some predictions quickly. I'll start. So, I think I don't know. I'm not really buying into the idea that it's going to be a grind. It's going to be as tight as some people are saying. I actually think we'll see a different Melbourne. Also, I do genuinely believe in the post-bye factor. So we're coming up against a team that are coming off a bye. It's irrelevant for Collingwood and Adelaide because they're both coming off a bye. It was irrelevant for St Kilda and Sydney. They're both coming off a bye. Every other team that has played a team that hasn't come off a bye has won, right? I don't know. And the other thing that gives me confidence is we've won 4 of the last 5 at this venue. And I think we really enjoy the Alice Springs trip now and we're accustomed to it. I think it's the first time GWS will play at a ground. That's big for me. I think that has a huge say in proceedings. I just think we're going to win by 5 or 6 goals. And I think it might be 2-3 goal margin at half time. It might be a 5 goal margin at 3/4 time. Last quarter will be a bit of a meh and we'll get it done. And I think guys like Cozzy and Fritsch and hopefully Chandler play themselves back into a bit of form, and we kick straight. I'm even happy with like a 13-13. I'll take that at the moment. 50-50 accuracy is fine for me at the moment. That's a stepping stone in the right direction. Baby steps. That's fine. So that's where I'm at. What about you, Marca?
19 points.
Yeah, 19. Peter Vardy?
19. I agree with you, but I just think the margin will be a little bit less in terms of we will just be. I think it'll be pretty tight for a lot of the game, but then we'll just break away.
Okay, nice.
We tend to do that at Alice Springs as well.
Yeah. It's
Cozzy loves it there.
That's a good point. Do you have a bog for us or a statement about a player?
Gone to assert his dominance once again.
Love that. That would be big. He needs it. It. Adzy.
I'll keep it quick, knowing that Derek's got his birthday dinner. So True. I've said all week, I think it's going to be an annihilation. It's going to click. This is the week it's going to happen. Cozzy, as I just said, loves it at Alice Springs. He kicked 6. Was it last time we were there, or maybe a couple of times ago?
Time.
He's going to go back into form. Ben Brown's going to come in, kick 3 or 4. I think it might be tight for the first 10 minutes, and then we'll probably win by 140 points.
It's disappointing that Sydney didn't win by 187, by the way.
Yeah, I know. I wish I was predicting that game. I would have been close to it.
Yeah, you would have. All right, cue us up, Derek, and we'll go out.
What's going on?
You're back on.
No, I'm not.
There you are. You've had enough grog in you.
Do you believe in Cozzy and no, not Dogger.
Dogger's not
He's
there.
At Freo. Little Bowie is coming into the team.
Love it. Here we go. What are you going to do without Dogger?
I don't know. I'm rattled.
Here we go. You got to hit it.
Say Bowie.
No matter when Dogger leaves, Cozzy's still gonna be here. He can't kick a goal, but he's gonna kick 10 this week.
Love it.
I don't care about Toby Green. We've got Ben Brown in the team.
Yeah!
He's gonna kick 506. And we're gonna win the flag. Oh, do you believe in Cozzy after Dogger?
Whoa!
All right, that's enough.
Do you believe in Cozzy after Dogger?
I do.
Come on, Dex.
Come on. Happy birthday, Derek.
Happy birthday, Derek. Yes.
Happy birthday. See you, Marca.
See you, Marco.
See you, boys.
Love you. Feel better.
Bye-bye.